Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Yellowstone's next spin-off would be even more exciting if Kevin Costner's John Dutton was still around. Yellowstone's upcoming The Madison spin-off is surely exciting, but will suffer from the lack of Kevin Costner's John Dutton. The series finale of Yellowstone concluded one of the most popular dramas on television in the past few years. Keeping the franchise alive, several new shows are currently in production, including The Madison, starring Michelle Pfeiffer and Matthew Fox. This new show will focus on a family who moves from New York City to the Madison River Valley in central Montana. Considering The Madison continues to use Montana as the setting, it wouldn't be out of the question for the series to bring back some of the best Yellowstone characters, such as Rip Wheeler, Beth, and Case. Kevin Costner's John Dutton could have also had a role in The Madison if his character hadn't died, raising the question of whether his absence is a missed opportunity for the new spin-off. Unlike other Yellowstone spin-offs such as 1923 and 1883, which are both prequel series based on older generations of the Dutton family, The Madison is expected to be set in the present day, allowing the show to cross over with the Dutton family ranch. Given his role as governor of Montana, Costner's John Dutton would have been a natural addition to The Madison's narrative. If John hadn't met his demise, he could have paved the way for The Madison to connect to the wider franchise. If John Dutton hadn't been killed off, it would have been intriguing to see Kevin Costner's character continue his rule in Montana. Furthermore, Costner crossing paths with Pfeiffer's Stacy Clyburn would have been must-see TV, with two movie legends clashing on the small screen. Unfortunately, John Dutton died in Yellowstone Season 5 following Kevin Costner's exit from the show. Even if Costner would have been willing to appear in The Madison, John Dutton's ultimate fate rules out any potential guest role. Despite the loss of Costner's John Dutton, other primary Yellowstone characters, such as Case and Monica, as well as Rip and Beth, who will have their Beth and Rip spin-off series, could cross over with The Madison, considering they all exist in the same broad location in Montana at the same time. However, one challenge for The Madison is to ensure that the new show isn't forced or predictable in the sense of solely mimicking the original series. The second half of Yellowstone Season 5 felt rushed, with John's death and the rivalry between Beth and Jamie, leading many to wonder what the purpose would be for future spin-offs. For The Madison to succeed, creator Taylor Sheridan needs to establish the identity of the new family and their primary intentions in Montana after their time in New York City. Only after establishing its own personality can the new spin-off cross over with familiar Yellowstone characters to provide added star power and complexity. As the sprawling Western saga of Yellowstone continues to captivate audiences, the spin-off series have garnered their own share of attention. From 1883 to 1923, each new chapter has added depth to the rich tapestry of the Dutton family's generational struggles, bringing in fresh faces and stories that weave into the larger narrative of the Yellowstone universe. However, as the latest spin-offs march forward, one undeniable fact lingers. Yellowstone's heart, Kevin Costner's John Dutton, is noticeably absent, and his absence is felt deeply. While the spin-offs are intriguing in their own right, 1923 delves into the early Duttons, navigating a world torn apart by war and change, and 1883 introduces the ancestors of the Dutton family on their perilous journey westward. There's a missing piece in this expansive puzzle. The gravitas, complexity, and quiet intensity that John Dutton brought to the table in the flagship series was something hard to replicate. His character wasn't merely a patriarch, but the emotional and thematic backbone of the Dutton family, steering the series with his moral convictions, tough love, and undeniable presence. Yellowstone without John Dutton is a world where his absence is profoundly felt. His wisdom, his loyalty, his complicated relationships with his children, and most notably his commitment to the land. Each of the spin-offs would, in fact, be far more exciting and intriguing if John Dutton were still a part of the story. Not only would it tie the entire franchise together, but it would also allow for a more seamless exploration of themes that resonate with the core of the Yellowstone story: land, legacy, and family. So how could John Dutton's continued presence improve the spin-offs and make them even more compelling? Let's explore. 1. The Dutton legacy, a living presence. John Dutton was more than just a father to his children or a ranch owner to his employees. He was a symbol of the Dutton legacy, a direct link between past and future. His deep-rooted sense of responsibility to the land, his unwavering protection of the Yellowstone Ranch, and his internal conflict between tradition and progress made him a complex figure, one whose influence rippled across every aspect of the show. Imagine the impact of John Dutton on the 1923 storyline, which focuses on a different generation grappling with the challenges of early 20th century America. John's fierce love for the land and his determination to protect it could have created even more powerful tension with the historical context of the time. His presence could serve as a bridge between the more ruthless and morally ambiguous moments in the early days of the Dutton family and the modern struggles of his own children, creating a lineage that felt more tangible and less fractured. Moreover, in 1883, John Dutton's participation could have offered a deeper insight into how the Duttons shaped the world around them, how their values and tenacity built into the land they would one day call their own. Perhaps we could have seen a younger, more idealistic version of John, struggling with the same decisions his descendants would face, choosing to either uphold or break freed from the weight of tradition. 2. The family dynamic. John's role as a father. One of the most intriguing dynamics of Yellowstone was John's relationship with his children. Whether it was his tense interactions with Jamie, his softer, more nurturing side with Beth, or his complex but loving bond with Case, John's role as a father was essential to the show's emotional core. His parenting style, grounded in tough love and a commitment to family loyalty, formed the backbone of much of the drama. In the spin-offs, the Dutton children, though occasionally mentioned, are largely missing. John's continued involvement could have deepened the exploration of generational trauma, the inheritance of his values, and the effects of his fatherly expectations. In 1923, for example, having John there could have brought a poignant reflection on the legacy of fathers and sons. We could have seen a battle of wills between John and his older relatives, each one fighting for control and leadership while struggling with their own demons. Moreover, John's presence would have had significant implications in the emotionally charged relationship between Jamie and his father. Jamie's conflict with his identity and his father's expectations could have been highlighted even more deeply, pushing his character toward new and unforeseen places. John's cold yet loving demeanor would have served as the perfect foil to Jamie's emotional struggles, deepening the drama and making their eventual confrontations even more satisfying. 3. The land and power struggles. One of the central themes of Yellowstone was the battle for land, whether it was against corporate interests, political maneuvering, or rival families. John Dutton's unyielding defense of the ranch was not just about land ownership, it was about preserving a way of life, a deep connection to the past. His relentless efforts to protect Yellowstone Ranch made him an iconic figure in a modern world where those values seemed to be eroding. In the spin-offs, the connection to land remains pivotal, but the nuances of that struggle could have been amplified if John were still around. The Dutton family's power in 1923 would have been more prominent with John's larger-than-life presence, and his tactical approach to defending the ranch would have influenced the earlier Duttons. Imagine him guiding Jacob Dutton, or even advising the young and ambitious Spencer Dutton as they fight to secure the family's place in an increasingly hostile world. Additionally, John's iconic feud with the likes of Thomas Rainwater and other land developers could have continued across the generations, making the land the heart of the saga in every era. His unwavering conviction and battle-tested wisdom would have brought a sense of continuity and gravitas to these struggles, ensuring that the fight for Yellowstone Ranch was an ongoing and intergenerational affair. 4. A powerful emotional hook. At its heart, Yellowstone is about family, flawed, broken, yet unbreakable in its love and commitment. Without John Dutton, the spin-offs lose that essential emotional hook, the anchor that grounded the Duttons' personal struggles within the larger fight for survival. John's complex emotional landscape, his pain, his losses, and his moral dilemmas, was what made him such a compelling character, and it's hard to imagine Yellowstone without that emotional depth.